And we are back, Better on Draft. This is the new segment, March 10th, 2023. A happy Mario Day to everybody. Let's go around and see what everybody is drinking. Starting with Nick. Nick, what do you got over there?
Remember to unmute myself this time. I'm still finishing up my Fudgy Kruger oatmeal stout from Big Lake Brewing.
Dan, what have you moved on to?
All right, so I have, what is the name of this? Intemperance from Treehouse Brewing. It's a milk stout. And I have a 805 from Firestone Walker.
Great looking glass over there. Wendy, what do you got?
Well, I am still drinking local with the Hazed and Confused from Supernatural.
For myself, I'm still finishing the 2020 Salted Caramel Pecan as well as the Schlafly Kolsch. But like old episodes of Better on Draft, I've opened up a third can. And that is the Bam Burger from Live Oak that I got while I was in San Antonio. Austin, I guess they are in Austin. In our chat, somebody said that they had Malort that they're going to be drinking tonight. So apparently they hate themselves. I forget
how bad that is every time I drink it.
It's just a constant reminder of how bad it tastes. But you could chat with us, folks. We are live on Twitch and Facebook every single Friday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern is when we start. So come join us, chat in the chat room. I'm managing the chat room as always. So if you want to talk to me or anyone on the show or want to make commentary on the show, feel free to go for it. We do pull comments out as we are going through. I have a mission for you guys for the news segment. I have a goal, a task. And this is a general consensus between the three of you. You need to come up with a ranked order, folks. We have St. Patrick's Day coming up next week, which is one of the biggest drinking days of the year here in the United States. According to a report, 44% of consumers will be celebrating St. Patrick's Day next week. That's 44% of consumers. That is a lot of people going out there. So along with St. Patrick's Day, the top drinking days of the year include the Super Bowl, the 4th of July, New Year's Eve/day, and the day before Thanksgiving. Between the three of you, I want you to work together and give me a list from the best drinking day to the worst drinking day of those five. That is St. Patrick's.
Can you describe what best means?
Best means it is the most fun, the most outgoing, the most entertaining, the one that you want to participate in the most.
All right. So day before Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day,
4th of July, Super Bowl, New Year's Eve,
and NYE.
Yeah, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day.
Which ones we would love to partake in?
Nope, I want you to rank them.
Or rank them.
1 to 5, 1 being the one you want, like everyone wants to participate, everyone wants to have fun, but you need to come together as a consensus between the three of you ranking these 5. So if you want to say 1 sucks so bad, we need to move it to 5 right away, or obviously 1 is the number, the best option out there. I want you to give me, from 1 to 5, the best to worst American drinking holidays.
Wow.
Dan, did you forget to unmute your microphone?
Yeah, I just pulled a Nick in 2020.
Yeah, you're
good job, Daniel. And you sound like you're very, very far away.
Dan, I think your mic settings are off. Go check them out.
Let me fix those. Hold on a second. Sorry about
You sound like you're talking in a kitchen from 50 feet away.
Well, I'm going to say right now that I will do everything I can to not be in a bar after 3 o'clock on the day before Thanksgiving.
Really?
Because it is such a shit show afterwards that I don't want to be around any of those people.
I don't know what I mean. Maybe I haven't done it in forever, but the bars I went to on the day before Thanksgiving were never crazy to the point where I didn't want to be there. I found myself having those kinds of feelings when I was going out on St. Patrick's Day.
That would be my second holiday I don't like to go out on.
Okay. All right.
So does this sound better first off?
Yes.
Can you hear me better now? Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot better. Yes.
So I agree about St. Patrick's Day. I personally don't understand the love about it. I'm not Irish, so I guess I don't get it. I don't.
And but most
people looking to get drunk, like on a Tuesday, like, you know, it happens on Friday once in a while, like it does this year. But what do we do? Like Happy Monday, like, you know what I'm talking about. I think
and not to mention, it's a religious holiday. You know,
yeah.
Most people don't understand. It's a religious holiday.
Well, you would think St. Patrick's Day would give that away. I love the night before Thanksgiving. I think that's a great one.
I think so too. But I would say 4th of July, I would put that towards the top. Most people, I mean, yeah, it sucks sometimes. It happens mostly during the middle of the week, but you're out by the pool, you're barbecuing. You don't have to get hammered and wasted on the 4th of July. You can have a couple of nice ones, seltzers, light beer, and
you're grilling. Yeah, you exactly brought up what I was thinking about. You're making food. You're having a good time. It's not. I'm out here. Like, I'll tell you what. We went out on St. Patrick's Day out here last year, going into Old Town Scottsdale. It was 4:00. There were people so drunk, like dancing on tables and shit. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, the sun's still up. Like, you don't see that usually on 4th of July.
So I love St. Patrick's Day. Like, I think that unabashed love of all things green is amazing. I don't know why. It's always been something that I really enjoyed, but I can't handle the level of ridiculousness that you see on the actual day.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. It was 4:00.
Yeah, that's the thing.
My favorite holiday is Parade Day. So Sunday is Detroit.
Parade.
Sunday is Detroit.
The downtown parade. The downtown Detroit parade.
Okay.
Yeah,
that is literally my favorite holiday. Period. And it's the same level of debauchery. Like, I don't understand why I like it that, but I don't know if it's just that there's, and maybe it's because we're not stuck in one little place. We can go.
You can walk around there, and there's things to see, and
Plus, there's stuff going on. It's not just people getting smashed, right? There's a parade.
There are people there that aren't there just to get smashed. So
that makes it a big difference. What about Super Bowl Sunday? I am not a fan of it because it's on a Sunday. And, like, you know, perfect example, I live in a condo community here, and people were outside. The game was over. It ended probably 8:00, 9:00 around here.
Must be nice.
Where I'm at. Yeah. People are outside. It's 10:30. Oh, that was a great game. They're like cracking beers, like still fucking trashed. Like 2 hours later, it's like, what are you doing? Everyone's got to work tomorrow. I still think I'm a big fan.
Take that day off, though.
It's one of the most, if I remember reading correctly, it's one of the days, like, more sick time is used like that next Monday than any other day of the year.
Yeah.
It's also common knowledge that the time that the most toilets are flushed at any given time in the country is during halftime on Super Bowl Sunday.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious. It is a known fact that there's more toilets flushing in that half hour of Super Bowl Sunday during halftime.
How do you measure that?
That's the best. That's the best statistic ever. I'm of the portion of the country that only watches the game for the pregame and the halftime.
What are you watching the pregame? Like interviews with like
bowl.
Yeah, the Puppy Bowl. Yeah,
that's not on the same channel.
Hey, don't knock the Puppy Bowl for one, two, the Star Spangled Banner.
I thought that the Star Spangled Banner in America the Beautiful, those renditions this year in this year's Super Bowl were actually pretty good.
They were really good.
I was going to ask something.
I think Chris Stapleton did
fucking rocked that shit out.
Yeah, he did.
The guy,
and I'm not a country music
sang,
fan, so
Yeah, the guy who sang the Star Spangled Banner this year, I agree, was very good. That was pretty impressive.
And I'll be honest, the last 3 years I have either been on a cruise or on a vacation where they couldn't call it the Super Bowl, they called it the big game.
Wait,
so
what?
I avoided most of the
There's a
game.
lot of laws about when you can say or promote the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, they make a big deal about
So
it.
if you listen to like the next year, Dan, like listen to talk radio or something like that, and they'll say like they'll say things like the big game or the big one or the last one, or they'll reference what's the what we do in the shadows, the superb owl.
What?
My brother-in-law works at a hotel, and he got actual notices from the Super Bowl that they are not allowed to use that name because they are not having an official Super Bowl party.
Yeah,
Roger Goodell can stick it. My God.
Look at
What a horrible man. Anyway,
we are 10 minutes into this conversation.
All right, okay.
Let's
Back on
get our
track.
rankings.
Let's regroup. I would rank Super Bowl towards the top, me personally, because I am the football fan. I love football. And it's the saddest day for me because that's the end of the season. So if I want to have...
Who's your team in the XFL right now?
And I haven't watched any of the XFL.
You're not a football fan then.
Again, restoring customers' power, So that's my excuse. But when CFL starts, that's a totally different story. I'll be rooting the Tiger Cats. Anyway,
you're not going to be rooting for the Michigan Panthers.
I will be rooting for the Michigan Panthers. I do intend to go to a game this year because I do
try to keep.
Anyway, I would put Super Bowl towards the top. I think 4th of July is probably my number one. I love the 4th of July for all the reasons I stated. And again, you don't got to get hammered. You need good food, good friends and family, good weather. If you have a pool nearby, it makes it 10 times better. But if you don't, you have those things, throw some fireworks in there. Hopefully people are lighting them so that way you're not spending an arm and a leg. Figuratively speaking, you don't lose an arm and a leg when you're blowing stuff up. But I think 4th of July, hands down, my number one best time of the year to have a beer by the pool or barbecuing. That's just me, though.
I'll agree with that for those, not necessarily for those reasons, but of the holidays we were given, I would say that was my favorite holiday too.
Okay. 4th of July, mine too. Where do you guys rank New Year's Eve?
Because the weather. I would put that second.
I will. It's probably more fun to drink during New Year's than it is during the Super Bowl because not everyone pays attention to the Super Bowl, especially if it's not your team. So I would agree. I'll agree with both of you. New Year's would be a number 2 for me. And then I would say I would rather squeak either Thanksgiving or the Super Bowl at number 3. I would probably trend putting St. Patrick's Day towards the bottom because of all the stuff we talked about. It's just the one memory I have about St. Patrick's Day was when I went to the same bar 3 times over the course of the same day. Once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and then once again in the evening. Needless to say, lots of money was spent, but it was like shoulder to shoulder. You could not move and you had to wait an hour for a beer. So if you were lucky.
That's terrible too. Yeah, if you were lucky, that's not even fun.
No, it's not fun. It's not fun. Yeah, there's a lot of friends are all there, music's bumping, but it's like I don't want to drink like this, where I'm like nudging somebody. It's all hot and sweaty. And, we get some really, really abnormally hot days in March sometimes. Have you been to a bar with shoulder to shoulder in March when it's 80 degrees outside? Because we have had those dates in Michigan before. Not fun.
It's 80 degrees here today.
Yes, shove it. but then again, I was in Key West last week where it was 90, so I have no room to complain. So it was amazing.
All right, so St. Patrick's Day at the bottom.
So St. Patrick's Day is at the bottom. So
Day before Thanksgiving would have to be right above St. Patrick's Day then. I would
So
put
What's the other one we're missing?
I don't even like the Super Bowl.
Oh, Super Bowl.
Like it's not that I don't like it. I don't care about the Super Bowl.
And that's fine.
I would put that one up above the other two just because you can go to a bar, you can get a seat, you can actually have a good time and not be wall-to-wall people.
And Wendy, you don't have to
idiots.
Yeah, and you don't have to like the Super Bowl to not have a good time. There's people that
Sure.
converse and talk. I mean, we had a small little gathering here. My wife didn't watch the game. She was talking with her friends half the time. You don't have to enjoy the football to have fun during the Super Bowl party. People watch the commercials. They like to, converse and cook and, things like that, especially when the people are, being the hospitality kind and things like that. They take joy in that. You talk to my aunt, for example. Ken knows my Aunt Sue, for example, just runs around the entire house during the holidays and just make sure that everybody's happy. And she's happy too. So you don't necessarily need to enjoy the occasion while we're there to enjoy the occasion. So it sounds like 4th of July, New Year's, Super Bowl, day before Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day is what we're agreeing on between the three of us.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yep. Okay. Ken?
Good job.
Years ago, I forgot we were doing things.
I know.
No, I circled you back after like 10 minutes of going off on random tangents about why you can't promote the Super Bowl
Screaming about Roger Goodell.
And yelling at Roger Goodell. Yeah.
I had to throw my hate for Roger Goodell in there somewhere, Guys,
I don't even know who that is.
He's the commissioner of the National Football League.
Okay.
He, for the first few years of his tenure, he really likes to make the rules up as he goes. He was suspending players for rule infractions that really had no precedence, and he was just creating things as he went along. So
he's hated. You think he's hated?
Gary Bettman.
You know exactly
Bettman.
Where I was going.
Gary freaking Bettman. The MLB commissioner is no good because he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about half the time. And then Adam Silver. I mean, I don't know enough about Adam Silver, but I think with the NBA,
is that the guy that used to own the
I love
Clippers?
it that he spelled out the National Football League for me, but then he used the initials for all the other ones.
Yeah, I know. Well, Adam Silver looks like James Carville sometimes.
Does he also look like he was dropped off in front of a Goodwill 5 minutes before he has to appear?
Oh, that's horrible. I mean, the NBA needs to get their act together, but that's a different show. So,
Dan, what's your article for the news today?
All right. So something interesting came out with Sierra Nevada. For only the second time in their 43-year history, Sierra Nevada has invested in another beverage company. The Chico, California headquartered craft brewery has announced a minority investment in Riot Energy. Riot Energy is an energy drink producer, and this deal just closed here earlier this week, about a week ago, back on the 1st. Initially, they're just serving as an investor, but they're actually going to take on the production when Riot Energy's Can Do Innovation Center opens, where they're going to have 500,000 barrels of annual capacity. So the reason I wanted to bring this up, actually, because what we were talking about on the other segment here about the craft beer bubble, is this how these companies actually avoid a bubble? By diversifying and not being in craft beer only and doing things like making energy drinks. I mean, is Sierra Nevada going to make the next, was it that Monster now has a alcoholic version of their beverages out? Is this the new trend? Do you have to invest in other areas to make sure you're diversified and can sustain if something like a big recession happens? Ken, I want to hear your thoughts on this first.
Obviously, this is interesting because it's backwards to what Monster does. Monster has a energy drink and then they go into the alcohol industry. That's the same for the likes of a lot of these non-alcoholic drinks going into the alcohol industry. Like Sunny D's got a seltzer that's coming out here soon. If not
Sunny
already.
D?
Yeah, Sunny D.
They're not making like a RTD of Sunny D and 151?
No, it's Sunny D.
That
Sounds
would
like
be
a horrible idea.
I
by
think
the
it's
way.
supposed to be
Sunny D's.
Sunny D and vodka.
Sunny D, the most unhealthy breakfast drink ever, you mean?
I think the Sunny D seltzer actually has less calories and carbs than Sunny D itself.
There's
Anything does.
Being in the industry, being able to market and remarket yourselves, and also having the ability to adjust when necessary. So Sierra Nevada being in the alcohol industry and being able to can energy drinks and do stuff with energy drinks, it almost seems like a no-brainer for a lot of these organizations, to where I think we might start seeing a diversified portfolio for organizations, and like Coca-Cola or Pepsi, where they invest, instead of paying some other organization to make their, Jack and Coke RTD or their hard Mountain Dew, that they literally just buy an organization and then brew it with them. So yeah, I think that's, if they have the money and they want to do it, I think, Ken Grossman is ready to provide what Sierra Nevada will be before they sell. And I think this is just them getting ready to sell to a bigger bidder. But
that brings up a good point. Is he going to pull a Larry Bell and sell off the brewery to a larger brewer?
Well, it all depends. I'm pretty sure Ken Grossman has kids. I don't know if the kids are positive or negative regarding taking over Sierra Nevada. So I think that if his kids don't want to take it over, then yeah, they'll be sold to someone else, the highest bidder. But if the kids want to take over, then the kids are going to take over. I think that's been his intention the whole time, is to keep it in the family.
Which is great to hear, because you know how many times people scream about, oh, they sold out, not thinking about the person that sells. It's like, hey, I just secured my family's future for generations to come.
Well, that's
about
with
you?
Bell's. Like, how are you going to sell a company as big as Bell's? And who are you going to sell to? Nobody's going to buy it.
It's not like, who has the money to buy that?
Look at New Glarus, when they were on, they told us they didn't want their daughters to take over the business. So they did the whole employee-owned thing.
Uh-huh.
So...
Well, when you get employee-owned, you can bring in your own presidents and CEOs and, like, vote people up and create a, employee-owned organization, whereas Bell's was just a for-profit business, and therefore that's just what it is. Like, I don't think Larry is going to sell shares to employees or give shares away today, a year ago.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is they knew from the beginning that they weren't going to do that. So they weren't
going to sell to a bigger...
They knew from the beginning that they didn't want their daughters to take over the business.
Mm-hmm.
So they found a way to make it profitable for the employees that were working for them, and for their business to move on without having to...
Yeah, but they thought of this back in the early 90s when they started the business. So that's,
right.
You can't, if you start it, that's great, but you can't really backtrack and do it retroactively.
But it wasn't employee owned when they started the business.
I'm pretty sure it was at some point.
It wasn't until after, it was a few years in that they made it employee owned.
I mean,
so they switched initially to okay.
I mean, we're talking 92 when they opened, and then maybe 95, 96 when that happened. So, whereas like Bell's is open in the 80s, I think, the late 80s, and we're in 2020 something. So, no, I love what New Glarus does, and I think there's nothing wrong with what Bell's did. I do foresee that. Well, we have two issues here. One, we talked about it last week with ABI and all the breweries that they purchased and kind of how they're getting pinched out of those. And two, all these breweries that are going to start aging out here soon.
Yeah, like Sierra Nevada, for example, they opened at, I think, 79.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about that, when's the end?
You got to retire at some point.
Yeah.
Wendy, were you able to... You looked like you were looking something up.
I'm just trying to figure this out because there's a couple different companies that didn't start out as employee-owned, but then became employee-owned later because Harpoon did the same thing. They didn't start out employee-owned.
So let me ask about this whole employee-owned thing. What happened with New Belgium? They were employee-owned. They're not employee-owned anymore, are they?
Yeah, but they chose that. That had to have been voted on by them to allow for Lion to come in to buy it.
For Lion to buy it?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
But I mean, if you're employee owned and you got this company coming in that's going to offer you so much per share that you own, you might just be like, why not? You're going to give me a bonus and potentially I get to keep my job. And because no matter what, like if they would have stopped it, I don't know what would have happened at that point. I mean, it would have continued employee owned, but like maybe the president would have got voted out. But I think when you're coming, everyone's got a price, and it's a lot easier for you to get 1,000 employees making 75,000 a year, the opportunity to sell at whatever per share. Because they're offering a premium when they're offering to buy out like that.
Love the Ted DiBiase quote.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. You didn't even know you did it.
Oh, I know I did it. I do it all the time. That's my shtick when it comes to selling out and buying craft breweries. Like no matter what, everyone's got a price, and it doesn't necessarily have to be money. It could be some type of ownership control or some type of future guarantee. But let's take, for example, and I'll give you a real life example, and that's me with Toast. Like I have my stocks with Toast, and prior to their IPO, we had an organization come in and offer a lot of money per share that I had, and I'm like, hell yeah, give me the money. Like I didn't need the money, but hell yeah, give me the money. So I think that's what a lot of people, they might have seen as like, hey, we're about to get a payout for being an owner. And that's what everybody wants. Why own the business if you don't want to get a payout near the end? What's the point of owning it other than a little bit of control?
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, good talk.
Yeah. Sorry.
Nick, what's your article for today?
Well, you know me, got to keep my streak of unusual articles moving along. This one is out of India. What if I were to tell you that if you were able to go to a cell phone store, if you bought a cell phone, you get a couple cans of beer for free? How does that sound to you?
Terrible.
Terrible?
No, I'm in.
Dan's in, guys. Well, apparently it is illegal to do that at least in one district of India, in the Uttar Pradesh state of India, which, for those keeping score, the most populous part of India, as well as the most populous subdivision of any country in the world, home to over 200 million people. Owner of a mobile phone store actually promoted, if you buy a cell phone from my store, you will get 2 cans of beer for free. Doesn't seem like a lot, but apparently in this part of the world, it seemed like a hell of a deal, because apparently people were lined up outside of the door around the street looking to get beer as long as they bought a smartphone. They did this for not just one day, but they did this for a whole week. From March 3rd to March 7th, this man sold cell phones and gave people 2 free cans of beer. However, for the shop owner, it came to a screeching halt when he was later arrested for this is what he was specifically arrested for, disturbing the peace. He was arrested for disturbing the peace. Never mind the selling the alcohol part.
They waited in line.
Because they waited in line. For what he did, he was arrested and for disturbing the peace as part of the Indian Penal Code. The legal drinking age in India is 21, so it is, of course, illegal to sell or provide alcohol to anyone below that age. Is there any kind of marketing idea that you guys would love to be able to get a free beer for? Like if you knew you had to stay in line for something, not stand in line for beer, of course, but something you guys really wanted to purchase and you were given a beer to kind of pass through the time, is there something that you guys would be willing to stand in line for and get free beer for it? Wendy?
Let's be honest. The first 5K that I did was because I got beer at the end.
That's amazing.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. The first 5K I did, I got a beer at the end too. That was the Warrior Dash.
Warrior Dash.
Not gonna lie.
Yep. That was the same Warrior Dash that Ken and I's mutual friend broke his leg.
Oh,
And
yeah.
That's not the worst thing that happened that day either.
No, it's not. Believe it, and it actually gets worse, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah. You just search Michigan Warrior Dash and you'll see the articles.
I
What's up,
have been
Wendy?
to many places on in ports where they give you a free beer if you listen to their spiel. So, I will do that for a free beer, and it's not usually good beer, but it's free, and I got to look at pretty diamonds.
Give me a beer. We talked about it kind of when we were talking about like places that need to start selling beer. Give me a beer at Secretary of State.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking. Going to renew your license? Yeah.
Well, the thing is that they make that so easy to do now. You go to the kiosk, you go to the Kroger to renew your registration now. It makes it.
Michigan's finally caught up.
They finally caught up. They finally did.
Michigan's also like appointment only these days. They're still walk-in, but you can you could get an appointment on your phone in the parking lot for like 20 minutes from now.
Yeah.
Or I could go to the Kroger and not.
And never have to worry about an appointment.
You want to hear how far behind Michigan is compared to most of the country. Well, there's a new law with ID to fly. If you're not worried about your ID to fly, your license here in Arizona doesn't expire till you're 65. Never have to do anything between whatever age you are till 65. But that one's not valid for flying, as they keep pushing that date back. If you want the one valid for flying, it's every 10 years. So you only have to renew your license every decade, and they only update your picture when you get to be 65. So you just do everything online. Yeah.
Your real ID. That's what you're referencing.
Real ID. That's it. Yeah.
It's interesting. If you go to Detroit Metro Airport, you go to the McNamara Terminal where the Delta flights are flying out of. It's this nice, extravagant, very beautiful terminal. Yet you got to take everything out of your bags when you get to TSA. And then you get to Fort Lauderdale.
Someone doesn't have pre-check.
Not if you do it. No,
what are you talking about?
For someone who doesn't fly very often, I don't need pre-check.
Yes, you do. For $85 fucking dollars for 5 years.
For 5 years?
I don't have pre-check. I didn't have to do that.
Well. So here's where it gets really messed up. We on our way back home from the Keys. We flew out of Fort Lauderdale. They're like, keep your laptop and all your electronics in your bag. You don't need to do that. I'm like, what? The people in Detroit told me I had to. What are you telling me?
That's because they're trying to push you through very fast.
They run through.
They have new scanners, Ken. They had totally different scanning machines in Fort Lauderdale. What they did in Detroit.
We have the same scanners in Detroit.
Yeah, prior to me getting pre-check, I was still flying a lot, and there were times where I would, there would be like. The line was so long. They're like, they need to push people through.
They switched.
There was nobody in line at Fort Lauderdale. Nobody.
Go on, Dan.
So here at Terminal 3 in the mornings, Terminal 3 opens up about 5 a.m. when flights start letting people through. They switch to a protocol where they use drug dogs and push everyone through like they're on pre-check, but they're not, to get the line moving through for the first hour. So they use a drug dog through the line, and they just have everyone push everything through and go through the metal detectors instead of the scanners. It's because the line's so long and the terminal's closed up until 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's the same in Detroit when you have like 6 a.m. flights.
Yep.
And because all the flights start at 6:05, 6, like everyone's there at 6 and trying to get you in. It happened to me in Charlotte where when I had a layover in Charlotte and I was too late for my layover, so I had to spend the night, they kick you out to the front gates, and then you have to go
out of the secure area.
Yeah, you have to go back in through TSA in the morning. And I remember like the line before the line started was so long before they started letting people in TSA, and I'm like, well, my flight doesn't even leave until 8:30, so I'm not going to even bother trying to get in line at this time. Like, I'm just gonna wait for it. But yeah, Nick, pre-check $85.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
It takes you literally like an hour to go through because you got to go get like a security clearance. On a site, but the average time, honest to God, Nick, from when I get my ticket at Delta, going through TSA and getting to the Delta lounge is literally no more than 3 minutes.
You literally walk.
Yeah, as soon as we're done with the show, I'm going to my wife and I'm saying we're gonna sign up for pre-check.
There's a lot of credit cards that'll cover the cost too.
Well, I'm not worried about
Clear's the next level on top of pre-check.
I don't
Clear,
even
though,
have
if you don't
pre-check. I have Clear, and
but hold on.
It's
so you
cut my time down like ridiculous.
So Clear lets you cut the line, but Clear will not let you go through the pre-check version if you don't have pre-check. You still get kicked to the one where you have to take your shoes off.
Is Clear Delta? Is that
no?
No, it's anything.
Third-party organization.
Clear thing has saved me so much time since I got it, and
it lets you skip the line, Nick, is what it does.
Why don't more people do it then?
It's expensive.
They are now, though.
Because you think that $85 for 5 years for one flight a year isn't, enough.
I mean, if I knew I was flying one time a year and it was good for 5 years, and it's $78 for an application.
Yeah,
I think it's worth. Yeah, I think
when I started doing pre-check, I actually as a lot of people know, I'm a gamer. I used to go to QuakeCon every year in Dallas, Texas. So we literally flew our computer down there. Well, by the time my computer baggage in Dallas was overweight, I had to move weight into my backpack, weight into my other luggage, move everything around just so I hit the proper weight without getting the extra fee, the extra, like $100 per bag. Moved everything around. My friend got in and was already in line for his regular TSA. I got in, had to do all that shit, finally got everything settled, went to pre-check, had 2 beers, and then he met me inside because that's how long the line was in Dallas. It's so beneficial for you to go get pre-check. I tell everyone to go get pre-check. You don't take your shoes off, you don't take your belt off, you don't take anything off. Like if you're wearing a hoodie, you're perfectly fine. You're literally the only time you ever have to do anything, and it's because of my previous job. If you have more than one computer in your backpack, you have to take that one out.
I don't even think that's the case anymore. I usually have 2 with me.
This was 2020,
and I haven't been. Oh, okay. I was like, I haven't been stopped yet since I started to do that.
Point out, I did the drug dog thing for the first time when I was in Detroit the last time I flew out, and they made me and a very person I did not know walk down the aisle together at the same time, and he was like, I feel like we're in a wedding right now.
Hey, Nick, I'll say this too. Check any credit cards you have. A lot of credit cards reimburse you for the pre-check fee.
Yeah, especially if you have a Delta Sky Miles.
Like I use the Capital One Vantage.
What's in your wallet?
Whatever no, not the Vantage. Whatever the travel one is reimburses you every 5 years, for example. So you don't even end up paying for it.
All right, well, I guess I'll be taking a look.
Yep.
Well, Wendy, you're finishing us off for the show. What article do you have?
Mine was actually pretty short. I actually have 2 things because I picked an article that I thought was kind of funny because we were talking about the Super Bowl. That the beer sales on the day of the Super Bowl in Philadelphia were 3.7 times higher from grocery stores on Super Bowl Sunday than the average day over the last 2 years. And it was the single biggest day for beer sales since at least January 1st of 2021. So that led me down a rabbit hole, though, to, and I don't even know if I still have it up. I might have closed it out. Just prices about the 2023 Super Bowl. And I'm just wondering, you guys are all sports fans. What are the highest amounts that you have paid for, let's say, a hot dog or a beer at any of the football games you've been to? And what are you willing to pay?
So,
well, can I say?
Yeah,
can I start
go for
out
it.
for the. Let me start out with the lowest, and the cheapest I paid for like a meal at a game of any kind was $5, and it wasn't like a coupon deal. I didn't get. There was no beer, but you get a hot dog, a bag of chips, and a pop at Comerica Park. And I don't know if they still do it anymore, but $5, it wasn't a huge drink, but it was good enough to shut me up and get me through half a game before I said, okay, I got to go get more. But that is by far the cheapest deal I've ever seen at any sporting event that I've ever been to.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, it's a really good. But this was a number of years ago, so I would expect it to go up at least a couple of bucks. Even if it was $7-8, that's still for a hot dog, chips, and a drink at a sporting event. I'd still take that over the craft beer at Ford Field right now just by itself. What was it, Ken? $11, $12?
I don't know.
I think it was $11 or $12 for a craft beer from the craft beer stand at Ford Field.
When we went, I drank at MGM.
We got hammered that game.
That I drank on the. I didn't get hammered. No,
we drank a lot though.
I did stay at MGM for an extra hour or two before.
Oh, did you?
I spent when Dan and I. It's not a sporting event, but when we went to the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, I spent $16 on a 24-ounce can of like Budweiser.
It was Bud Light.
Bud Light, sure.
Yeah.
I bought 2 of them, so I spent $32 on 2 cans.
Is it because that was the cheapest one?
It was because the only one.
It was just a shit show, like a total bad setup.
Honest to God, it was one of the worst setups for a event that I've ever been to. It was cash only. This person literally set up shop next to like the ATM, and started taking like, hey, there's the ATM, for a credit card. Go grab that, come back to me, and I'll cash you out. But yeah, it was such a shit like experience for the beer. But
for any vendor.
I wanted the beer, and I wanted a little buzz like on top of me drinking all day. Like I wanted to continue the buzz, and the only way to do that is to drink. So I did it. No, I remember like JLA used to have really good deals for beer. I remember drinking $9 16-ounce Le Fin de Muns at JLA. Oof. That fucked me up.
Happy Monday.
But honestly, if I'm stuck in a spot, you really have to jack up the prices for me to even not want to have a beer if I want to have a beer.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
So I don't do a whole lot of sports stuff, but I went to see my friend and I, she went to college with this band, and she like did their merchandise for them when she was in college. So we went to see them play, and they charged $11 for a Miller High Life bottle.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I was like, I don't even want to know. Is this at a local
venue?
Yeah, I'm not going to say where it was, but I was so disappointed. And I was like, how much is it for that M43? And I was like, nope, that's not in my budget. Like,
How much was it?
I paid $11 for a Miller High Life.
I mean, when
What
you
was
get
the
to
M43
those prices,
cost?
yeah, what was the
Crap.
M43
It was
can?
like $17 for a can
Oh
of
my
Miller High Life. I'm like, I
God.
could almost buy a 4-pack of that. I
So-
was like, no, I drew the line. I bought the Miller High Life and I let it go. But
Should have told Travis and say, hey, these guys are price
Oh,
crashing. like
I
crazy.
was, and I understand like they're probably suffering, you know, after COVID, they're trying to get their venue back in place, but I don't think that was the right way to do it.
Did you say this was a concert venue?
Yeah, it was a concert venue.
Here's
That's all they do there.
the thing, like if you lower the price enough to where then it's feasible for you to drink two, like if
You make more money.
you could make more money. Like if the choice is I'm not going to drink anything or I'll drink two M43s, like I could get you to like that's the whole point of proper pricing. Like you need to
I couldn't buy 2 Miller High Lifes and tip with $20.
the person,
that's a problem.
Yeah, if you need to one plan what your price is versus tipping ability for cash customers for your staff, but two, you need to be able like they're still paying the same price that whatever random bar that serves M43 is getting. Like that they don't pay an extra price. You're paying a premium because you're stuck there. They need to price properly to get you to drink there. And if they've priced you out now, Ford Field, there's too many people to be priced out.
Yeah.
Like if I'm priced out of Ford Field, I'm shit out of luck. But you're at we're gonna say the machine shop over in Flint or something like that.
Hold on. The machine shop isn't shitty like that.
I didn't say that, Dan. I just named a venue.
It was the first thing that
I don't
came
know.
to mind.
I haven't been there since COVID.
I've never been there. I wouldn't know.
Oh God, I
Be there
saw
September 29th. September 30th.
I saw that they added a third show, Dan.
Wait,
Yeah.
who's playing there?
Taproot.
Taproot.
Oh,
Taproot.
Taproot.
They have
coming out from Arizona
two
for that.
sold out shows, and they just added a third because so
I
many
think
people.
the third
No
one sold out
way.
today.
Did
Yeah.
they really?
Yeah, like they sold the first two sold out in 10 minutes.
I
With
honest to
no
God
doubt.
won't be surprised if they do a second show, like an afternoon, like a 2 p.m. show now. Like on top of that, if they're selling out that fast, like sooner or later you're
Now-
gonna need to.
To be
Yep.
fair, though, the machine shop always sells out really fast. I've been to.
It's pretty
I've
small.
had multiple bands that announced a show and they were sold out before they even announced the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty small venue, and it's a great place to see a show. Probably the best place in your area if Flint's considered part of that area.
Anyway, so that's I think that's a them issue with improper pricing to be able to, but if they're selling it and people are buying it, then you're just kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I was at
I was.
Allison Chains 2 weeks ago. They were selling beers there, perfect. It was $8.50 for a 12-ounce pour. You know you're spending $10 each time. The bartender is getting a tip every single time.
Yep,
of at least
I'd be okay with that.
$1.50.
change.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a
That's how
a
you
John
do it.
Tapper specialty.
That's
Yep.
exactly how you do it. You don't price people out. You price it right, so
I said, so we'll tip.
it's high, but it's not too high. Where
You
like,
charge
yeah.
a drink for $5.35 and you get a $1.65 tip every time.
Yep, exactly. It works out every time. I don't know why other places don't figure that out.
Hey, you guys want to go see Tantric at the machine shop?
We can go see Taproot.
Again, I might be hitting up for that fourth show if the third show is already sold out for Taproot.
Ken, if I knew you wanted to go, I'm pissed. If I knew you wanted to go see Taproot, I grabbed those tickets the other day when they went on sale.
Oh my God. I didn't even know they were like coming out, and then like I saw like the third date and stuff, but I didn't think, I was like, all right, whatever. But no, there's the they have that one song or one part in Poem, because that's when like that whole when Taproot got big nationally, because they were always big here in Michigan, but they got big nationally with Poem.
Yeah, that was their first hit.
And like when that song came out, and they have that one scream part in there, that I can't do it. I'm not going to even try with the mic.
No, I want to hear this now. Can you sing
we'll do
the
it
chorus?
offline.
Right? I want to hear it too.
You want to say that this song is a poem to myself? there you go.
Keep going. No, you're not to the screaming part yet.
In case of fire, break the glass and...
No, you didn't do it right.
All right, we're done.
Go to youtube.com and find it, folks.
Maybe we'll add this to our TikTok. Folks, that's the news
Love
segment.
a video of Ken singing poem.
We will be
You should
back.
do a TikTok, Ken.
We will be back next week. The goal is to have former Arcadia Brewing owner Jim Brown on to talk about World Expo of Brewing judging, as well as hopefully dive into a little bit of the history of Arcadia, what's going on over at Shorts, and what else he can tell us or can't tell us. But that's going to do it. Better on Draft Podcast. We are back next week. As a reminder, March 24th, we do not have a show live Friday night because March 26th, that's a Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Make sure to wake up early because we have the brewer and owner of McKellar coming onto our show. That's right, all the way from Denmark coming on our show. That's why it's Sunday at 11 a.m. versus Friday at 7 p.m.
So I'll be in San Diego that day. I might need to go outside out front of the old location, be like, yo, why is this closed? Just pop on.
Probably not a good idea. That's going to do it. Better on Draft Podcast.
Don't do that.
We are on all the social medias. That's Better on Draft on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Untapped. BetterOnDraft.com. Go check out our March Draftness, which starts March 13th. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's Better on Draft. Have a good night.